Hello, welcome to BOLO'S. I'm sure you have been waiting or anticipating for this next segment of We Read Wednesday. We left off on page 204 of the last sesh that we had. I am not feeling up to reading outside. I'm going to go to my cozy bed. So let's do this. So let me... They're painting next door and I can smell the fumes. And it'll make me have a headache. So I showed a little short earlier. This doesn't have anything to do with this book, but I wanted to kind of show it to you since I have you on my video. See my pennies? I found a couple of them that actually don't have a mint stamp on them. It's pretty exciting. Yeah, so it's quite fun. I enjoy it. I wanted to show you my penny stashes. And this is just a little bit of them. But I have more put away. I just haven't got them out. I just do a little bit at a time. Okay, without further ado, let's go to my happy place. Yes, bed, pillow, comfy, warm. I actually turned off my air conditioning, so we are no longer running it. As of right now, last night I slept without the air conditioner. Forgive me while I get comfortable. Okay. Okay, the lighting isn't the best in here, but it will do. And I'm just going to backtrack a little bit, only because this is Wallace. This is Officer Winifred McCall, First Lieutenant. So I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more information from her and her thoughts. And it says, after briefing notes, after action report from First Lieutenant McCall concerning the command control incident aboard the Hypatia. At 2:07 shipboard time on 7/28/75, Sigma Squad and I were scrambled to a code blue alert issued by Alexander Command Staff. Squad mustered in a timely fashion to deck 146, where we were briefed by General Torrance. The boss looked tired, more tired than I can ever see him, more tired than I can ever remember seeing him. And I believe that we already touched this, but I'm just gonna, read through it. Maybe I'll just kind of skip through it. So basically they got all on the deck, and the general kind of barked off his orders, and he assigned an ensign, or he assigned somebody by the name of Sykes, and we're expecting resistance, boss, he asked. Negative, Torrance replied. These are civilians. They'll do what they're told. Still, you're packing hot ballistics. The chip heads are off limits. But if anyone else is stupid enough to get in your way, you'll be the push that makes them move. Sykes smiled. Put a ice in my belly. Roger that, sir. Sir, I asked, aren't we there to pacify rather than to neutralize? You are there, Lieutenant, to bring back personnel vital to fleet operations. And then I believe this is her thoughts. If we didn't, or his thoughts, and it was just crossed off the record, I don't know. If we didn't need all of our own people, I'd have already brigged Hypatia's commanders and replaced them with UTA personnel. So if anyone gets in your way, they are to be considered enemy combatants and dealt with accordingly. Is that understood? Sir, yes, sir. Good hunting. On the way down to Hangar Bay 1, we passed the airlock to Bay 4. I tried my best not to think about the man trapped inside, the people beyond it, who they were and where they and what they became. The gold UTA signal on my sleeve caught the light of the alert globe spinning above the sealed doors, red as the blood on my hands. The trip across to Hypatia was taken in near silence. I should have been talking to my people, making sure they were chill. I could barely stop my teeth from chattering. One of my Carenza rooks was looking at me, Doherty was her name, staring from behind her wire-rimmed spectacles like I had the answers. I kept my eyes to the floor, spoke to no one in particular. Follow my lead. Do not fire unless I give the order. The first itchy trigger on my watch gets to learn what the outside of an airlock tastes like. Crystal? Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, yes, ma'am, came a dozen shouts. We came to Hypatia's docking bay at Hardburn. The artificial grav kicked back in and dropped me to my seat. I was up and out of it before I could get cozy. If I'd let myself, I'd have stayed there forever, buckled in tight and wondering how it came to this. I spoke to the pilot as we touched down. Kirkpatrick, keep engines running. We may need to jet quick. Affirmative, LT. Or Lieutenant. I think it's affirmative, Lieutenant. All right, Sykes barked on the squad. Suit up, let's roll. Out the shuttle door and across the bay, the stink of fuel and char in my mouth, patching myself into the local command frequency and speaking through gritted teeth. You know, I was outside for maybe less than 2 minutes, and they have the door open next to me, the apartment door, and they're spraying, and I can taste the paint. I really should go get myself something to drink just to wash that down, or wash it out of my mouth. Maybe I'll do that and be right back. I don't know how they can breathe under those conditions with no masks or anything. But yeah, I was sitting in my room earlier, and the smell of paint came through these walls. It was very interesting. So it's all over in the air. Okay, back to this. So, sorry about the delay. All right, Sykes barked to the squad. Suit up, let's roll. Out the shuttle doors and across the bay, the stink of fuel and char in my mouth, patching myself into the local command frequency and speaking through gritted teeth. Hypatia, this is First Lieutenant Winifred McCall from UTA Marine Squad Sigma. We're here to escort Hypatia ComTech personnel in accordance with Alexander Command directives. Please open internal hangar bay doors. Over. Lieutenant McCall, this is Captain Cho of the Hypatia. Over. Roger that, Captain, I read you. Please open internal hangar bay doors. Over. Negative, Lieutenant, you're not taking my people. I tried not to sigh then, tried not to acknowledge I knew exactly how she felt, remembering McNulty's face as the air lock slammed closed. They're not your people anymore, Captain. They're UTA conscripts. Now you can open these doors, or the plasma missiles on our shuttle can open them for you. Silence down calms then. Doherty looking at me the way kids must look at their mothers, wondering if any of this was real. Psych spat on the deck. Spat down his transmitter. Ew. Open the blinking doors before we blow them in. I had Psych's collar in my fist before I knew it. Hand over my mic so Hypatia couldn't hear. Dragging him close enough to smell the hooch on his breath. You secure the bull, blah, blah, blah. You secure the bull S right now, or I'll kick your teeth so hard you'll need to unzip for me to lace up. 2.5. 205. Oof, one of those days. 206. Silent rebellion in his eyes. I should have benched him right there. I could see the names written on his face. Parker, Henderson, Gandolfini, Montano, McNulty. Ma'am, yes ma'am, he said. The airlock doors opened wide. What passed for Hypatia's sec team was waiting for us on the other side. Their lieutenant looked former military, but he was about 20 years old. About 80 pounds too slow. Where are the contacts, I asked. On the bridge, the lieutenant replied. They're still working to get us out of this mess. You're ex-UTA, Lieutenant? Yes, I am. Then you know what a VK burst rifle does to a human body at close range. Swallowed. A glance to the weapon in my hand. Yes, I do. Lead the way. Through long gleaming halls, boots squeaking on rubber floors, all of it surgical white once, but just a little faded now. Pale faces peering at us from behind the grubby plus-steel windows, unshaven cheeks or pink dye jobs, with 6 months of regrow at the roots, frightened eyes, all of us fraying at the edges. The Hypatia Bridge was semicircular. Reminds me of Star Trek. Humming with static. Cho had cleared most of her personnel out in case things went south of heaven. The remaining crew glanced up as we entered. I could imagine how we looked, all in black, hollow eyes, 38 rounds of murder in every clip. My hands were shaking. Cho was short, carved out of wood, dark hair, pistol at her belt, running on no sleep, by the look, standing at her post like some old lighthouse keeper, the only thing between us and the rocks. I identified the context from their shipboard IDs, both still pounding away at their console like nothing was happening. I spoke loud enough to be heard across the whole bridge. Byron Zhang, Consuelo Nestor, you are hereby ordered to accompany me to the UTA battle carrier Alexander. I'm sure she didn't stutter, but I did. Tell me how you think this ends, Lieutenant. It was Cho speaking, her hand on her pistol. She was looking out the huge view screen dominating one end of the room. I could see a tiny spark on the long-range scanner out there amid the black and starlight, its ID tag and countdown to intercept pulsing red. BT042-TN, 0.52 hours, 17 minutes. The Lincoln. I don't get paid to think, I said. I follow orders. Stand aside, Captain. Cho smiled like I said something funny. One of the comtechs stuck up. Byron Zhang. Supposedly a top-tier console jockey. And he was Katie's friend, if you recall, in the previous chats. He sure looked the part. Overweight, thinning hair, underarm stains. Ew. It's a good thing they don't pay you to think, he said. It doesn't seem like your thing. Zhang, get your gear, you're coming with us. No. He set pudgy hands on his hips. tried to keep his voice from shaking. "You'll have to drag me, kicking and screaming." "I'll give you something to scream about," Sykes growled. "The man dies in all who keep silent in the face of tyranny," he said. "Listen, Shang, I appreciate the rhetoric, but anyone can do math this simple. We need every swinging blank back on Alexander. And you two are the best chipheads in Hypatia." Shang's lips twisted. "And I know something you don't know." Kind of smile that turned my mood darker. I wanted this over. I wanted to be back in my rack with a canteen of rocket fuel and a few hours